Welcome to Midnight Murmurs. Before watching, don't forget to like and subscribe this channel.
The gavel fell, a sound that echoed through the auction hall, but for me, it was like a starting gun. A wave of pure, unadulterated elation crashed over me. I'd done it. After years, literal years of searching, of chasing whispers and rumors through the art world, and spending a small fortune. I definitely shouldn't have. The centerpiece of the notorious Blackwood collection was finally mine. They called it the Resignation. A stark, imposing portrait from the late 17th century. The subject was a severe-looking woman, draped in heavy black velvet, her face pale against the dark fabric. What drew me to it, what obsessed me, was its realism. It possessed an intense, almost modern quality that felt entirely out of place for its era. There was a darkness to it, a weight, a history I was dying to uncover. It took 3 professional art handlers to hang the massive thing in my private study. It was enormous, dominating the entire wall, its presence immediately commanding. That first evening, I just sat there, in my favorite leather armchair, sipping a vintage brandy, and just admired it. The brushwork was exquisite. The way the artist captured the texture of the velvet, the stern set of her jaw. But it was the eyes. I noticed the incredible detail in her eyes. They were deep pools of shadow, yet held a slight, melancholic light, and they seemed to follow me. As I moved around the room, her gaze followed. It was a clever trick. Of course, a mastery of perspective that great artists sometimes employed to give their subjects life. A clever trick. That's what I told myself. I dismissed the first incident as fatigue. It was late, well past 3 in the morning. I was in my armchair, reading an old art history text, when a faint, almost imperceptible sound drifted across the room. It was a sigh, soft, drawn out, and utterly, undeniably human. I froze, my book slipped from my fingers, and my heart immediately started hammering against my ribs. My eyes shot toward the painting. The air in the room, which had been still and quiet, suddenly felt thick, heavy, like the charged atmosphere right before a thunderstorm. I stared, my breath held, at the painted woman, and then I saw it. Her chest, or the part of the canvas where her chest should be. It seemed to subtly rise and then fall. It was so minute, so fleeting, that I instantly tried to reason it away. It was the brandy. It had to be the brandy. Or maybe it was just the flickering power of the antique lamp reflecting oddly on the centuries-old varnish. Yes, that was it. My mind was playing tricks on me. The following day, I examined the canvas forensically. I brought in powerful lights, a magnifying glass, the works. I went over every inch of it. There were no cracks in the paint that could suggest movement. No microscopic evidence of some hidden clockwork mechanism behind the canvas. It was structurally sound, ancient, and still undeniably beautiful. The art historian in me waged a war against the coward in me, and the historian won. I convinced myself I was just overtired, projecting my own anxieties onto the artwork. I was simply imagining things, but the breathing returned the second night, and the third. Only now, it was louder. It wasn't just a soft sigh anymore. It was a shallow, almost raspy inhale and exhale, the sound of someone in a heavy, deep sleep. Or perhaps the sound of deep resignation, just like the title suggested. Sleep became a foreign concept to me. I started leaving my chair across the room, my eyes fixed on the painting with a manic attention, just waiting for the phenomenon to manifest again. A part of me didn't want to look away, terrified I'd miss it, while another part, the sane part, desperately wanted to run out of the room, out of the house, and never look back. On the fifth night, I did something foolish. I moved my armchair, dragging it across the antique rug until it was just a few feet from the painting. I sat there, breathing shallowly myself, as if I was unconsciously mirroring the painted woman. And then the temperature in the room dropped sharply. I could feel the cold radiating from the heavy gold frame, a chill that had nothing to do with the autumn air outside. The breathing started. A steady, measured rhythm. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. As I watched, completely terrified and unable to move. The light in the study seemed to dim everywhere except on the woman's face. And then I saw the slight texture of the oil paint begin to shift, almost like liquid flowing. The shadow in the corners of her mouth deepened, creating a faint, unsettling curl of a smile that absolutely hadn't been there before. Then, slowly, agonizingly, slowly, the eyes began to shift. This wasn't a trick of perspective that changes based on where you stand. This was movement. Real, deliberate movement. The gaze that I had spent a week admiring, the one that fixed straight ahead into some distant, unknowable past, began to drag across the canvas. Slowly, deliberately, the painted pupils slid, inch by inch, crossing the bridge of her painted nose, until they were locked directly onto me. Her expression hadn't changed. It was still severe, still somber, still resigned, but the gaze was alive. It was conscious, and it was looking right at me. I could feel the weight of centuries pressing down, the chilling realization that whatever entity was trapped within that canvas had finally noticed me. It wasn't just observing my room anymore. It was observing me. It had me, and its gaze was absolute. I was the new centerpiece of its collection. Thank you so much for coming along on this terrifying journey with me. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more strange tales. Ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. update. Stay safe out there.